Hey, William Gilmore here for the ScreenwritersJourney.com. It's day 184 of the journey, and today was kind of a mad scramble of rewrites. If you've been following along over the last couple of days, you know that I recently completed the screenplay for Come Ups, or what I think is a completed version, and I sent that out to a number of personal readers, friends of mine or business acquaintances that I trust, and been waiting their feedback. I've only heard from one so far. I've sent it out to about close to 10 people. I figure not everybody's going to get back to me, but I was hoping by this point I would have heard back from more than one. But that being the case, the one who did get back to me had a couple of issues with the script, and one of them was the likability of the characters, and specifically Shep. He really did not care a whole lot for Shep. He thought that was probably the character he was supposed to root for, but didn't really engage with the character. And that was an issue that I was having coming up into that final rewrite, if it was final, which apparently it's not. It's something I've been working on. Shep is the character that the audience should be able to relate to. He's the person we are rooting for to make it through this story. The other characters, with the possible exception of Grady, are pretty much they're not likable characters. They're bad guys, and we want to see them all get their comeuppance. But Shep is the one that he's the character that is there for the audience to sort of voyeuristically partake in the story. And with Shep not being likable, it's a big issue for the script. And so I've been thinking about that and what I can do to make him more reader friendly, more audience friendly. And I had made a number of changes in the character leading up to this point, trying to bolster him, but apparently haven't gone far enough. And it was something that I was worried about anyway. So even though it's only one reader giving me feedback, it sort of hit on this area that I was concerned about. So I took another look at it. What can I do to make Shep more likable? And one of the things that I came up with was including a new scene that comes, it's actually the third scene of the script now. It comes in right near the beginning, so we've introduced Raydell and his crew, and then we immediately get the three guys in the boat, which are Shep, Tyler, and Grady. So right from the get-go, in those first couple of scenes, we get both sides of the story going instead of waiting a few scenes. So that sets them up much earlier, gets us involved with them much earlier. And I've also set that scene at the boat ramp where they're launching their boat about to go on the lake for a day of fishing when they hear the gunshots and get pulled into the whole drug deal and whatnot. So that I think is also a positive for the script because we established that boat ramp much earlier in the story. We didn't actually see the boat ramp until the early part of the second act in the earlier version, and it's such a pivotal location later in the story that I think it's important that we set that up early on. So I think that helps the script also. It allows for some character interaction there to really establish the characters, that Tyler's sort of the jerk. Grady is the outside friend who's sort of being pulled into the situation. Like, don't want to get between these two guys. And it also allows me a chance to set up Shep as a good guy. And what I did to do that, to accomplish it, was I made, or I had Shep tell Grady that he has taken Tyler in because Tyler's going through a rough spot. It's the brotherly thing to do. It's what family does for them, for each other. Even though Tyler's only his half brother, there's still a blood connection there. So it shows Shep sort of stepping up to the plate and trying to do something good, and then Tyler just being a complete dick like he is to his older brother and to Grady. So it really establishes those characters very early on. I think it's a much clearer dynamic between the three characters, separates them all a little bit more, makes them a little clearer as individuals. There could be an issue with Grady and Shep being a little too similar in the previous version, so hopefully this will help separate them. I know it's only one scene, but I think because it comes so early, it does help establish that relationship between them. Another thing that I changed, there's a running gag or a taunt through the piece, through the whole script, that uh, Shep is always referring to Tyler as his half brother. He's not my brother; he's my half brother. Just kind of making that little distance, and that's a little harsh, particularly if we're wanting to make Shep the good guy and the one we're rooting for. It gives him a little edge. They can be a little less likable. So I took that away from him and I gave it to Tyler to do the taunt. He taunts his older brother, always referring to Shep as the half brother, which makes more sense because Tyler is sort of the dick, and it makes us more sympathetic or empathetic with Shep, because he's trying to do something good for his younger brother, and the younger brother's just not stepping up to the plate on his end. So I think those are good things. That's sort of a ripple effect through the script. I had to change all those things all the way through. I think that works much better. And the reason I was scrambling to make all these rewrites and not waiting for the other readers to come back with feedback was tonight was a deadline for Inktip.com. Now, Inktip.com is sort of an online clearinghouse for scripts. It's a place where directors and producers and agents and production companies can go online and look at scripts that are available from screenwriters. Inktip requires that you post a logline and a synopsis. You don't have to post your script. You just have to post those two items. And those can be searched, and they're set up by genre and budgets and any number of other things. Is it a female-driven story? Is it a male-driven story? Things like that. So they can do this search and find things that are sort of in what they're looking for. And if they like it, they can request the script from you. You can also load your script up to the site. It's not required. It's not necessary. But it does take a step out of the process that if a production company likes your logline, they can go ahead and take your script and read it right there. And if they like it, then they can contact you and make whatever negotiation they want with you. In order to post anything online, though, you need a copyright. So I was also having to get my copyright done tonight to make sure everything was up to date. Inktip requires that copyright for two reasons. One, since you only have to post your logline in your synopsis, it is possible for some writers to just post that and not have a script done. And if they get any interest, they could go, oh, I'll write it now. I'm not going to waste my time writing something if nobody's interested. But then that is a disadvantage for the producers and the directors and whoever may be looking, that they have to wait for you to write the script now. So Inktip wants to make sure that you have a finished script before they will let you post your logline and synopsis. And in order to do that, they want your copyright, and you can't copyright it unless you actually have it written and submitted it to the Copyright Office. It also ensures that you are protected. That protects Inktip, it protects the producers, directors, and production companies, and most importantly, it protects you. So that's there for those two reasons. You have to have that copyright before you can do anything on their site. So I had to get that done. And the reason I needed to do this tonight is you can upload your synopsis and your logline at any time, any day, any hour of the day, throughout the year. But they also have what's called the Inktip magazine. And this is a magazine that is sent out to 15,000 industry professionals, which are production companies, producers, agents, directors, anybody who may be looking who's subscribed to the magazine. And basically it's just a listing of all the different loglines that are available on the site that writers want to sort of get an extra push for. There is an extra fee for the magazine, so not everybody does it. But it is a way of getting that logline out there another way. You don't have to wait for them to look for you. You could send it to them. And it's 15,000 people, so it could be a good thing, depending on how many loglines are actually in the magazine and do they take the time to read through them all. Who knows? But I wanted to make that magazine deadline because they only do that every couple of months. Tonight is the deadline. It won't be available again for about 3 months, I think it is. And I want to get the marketing going before then. I can change my elements at any time. I can change the logline, the synopsis, or the script if I have uploaded it. If I make any changes in it. So the website is fairly dynamic. You can make modifications as you go along. The magazine, of course, is set once it's printed. It's printed. But I don't think my log line or my synopsis will really change at this point. It's all, I think the structure is pretty darn solid. There may be some character things, maybe a few scene changes here and there, but the basic storyline is pretty much set. So I was okay with that part of it. So again, the mad scramble to get the script done so I could get the copyright so that I could post everything up to Inktip, and then once it's posted, I could sign up for the magazine. You can't put your logline in the magazine unless you have something on the website. So they sting me twice there for fees. But if you want to get your work out there, it's one of the things you have to try. So I did all of that. I got it all done, got the copyright, got that uploaded to the Library of Congress, got the synopsis and logline on the site, and that opened me up for the magazine. I got the magazine in and made the deadline on that. And not content to leave well enough alone, I decided to go ahead and send the script out for some professional coverage using one of the reader services that are all over the internet. You can find a number of them. And there's a problem with that there are so many of them, you don't know exactly who it is you are submitting to. Some sites may be better than others. It can be a crapshoot because you don't know who your reader is. But guess what? You don't know who your reader is when you go to an agency, or you don't know who it is if you go to a production company or one of the big studios. You never know who's going to be reading your work. So 6 of one, half a dozen to another of the other. Is it worth going to a screenplay service, or do you just wait and send it out to an agency and let them do their coverage on it? There are mixed feelings on that. If you go on any of the forums online, most people hate the coverage services. They feel it's a waste of money. My own personal experience in the past has been it's a waste of money. I have gotten a couple that were decent and gave me some good feedback. Not always stellar, but good solid comments. I've had some that were just terrible. Hated the script, hated the story, hated this, hated that. Made you feel like you weren't a writer at all. The problem with those, and I know a lot of people say, well, you're just upset because they didn't like your story. I'm pretty good at people not liking the story if they can point out why they didn't like it. I can accept that. What I don't accept is when I get feedback and they go, I really hated John. John was a terrible character, and it makes no sense for John to go running into the burning house. And there's no character named John. There's no burning house. Nobody ran anywhere. What are you talking about? This scene doesn't exist. This character doesn't exist. Or they'll ask a question about, you set all this up for this big ending, and then you didn't answer the question. Did you not read the screenplay? The whole ending, the whole third act is about that very thing that you're asking. If you had read the whole screenplay, you would have answered that question. And a lot of times people are saying, well, I need this question answered in the first act. Well, then the story would be over because that is the goal of the protagonist. I had one time that came in, and he had all these questions, and the questions stopped at the first act. He was pointing out specifics. There were no specifics after the first act, after the turning point, and the questions that he was raising about the end of the story were all there in the story, blatantly. It wasn't like they were minor points. It was the big finale moment, and you couldn't have missed that if you actually read it. So I've had some problems with him with the coverage services. Some have been pretty good. So it's a crapshoot. I did a little research, and the company that I chose to go with was Screenplay Readers. They have had some bad reviews online, but the owner responded to those, and I thought he had pretty reasonable responses to the complaints. And their readers seem to have, they list who their readers are, they have pictures of them, they give their background and why they're knowledgeable in doing this coverage. And I felt pretty confident with going with them. So I'm giving them a shot. They were also reasonably priced, and that's an important thing for me. You can pick 1, 2, or 3 readers. One reader is $97. 2 readers is $169, and 3 readers, I think, was $239. I think that's what 3 readers were. I I went with the 2 readers for $169, and so I get 2 sets of feedback, 2 sets of notes, 3 to 4 pages each, a 25-point checklist, not page, 25-point checklist of different items, such as formatting, readability, dialogue, characters, things like that. Give you a checklist and a grading scale. They will give you one set of, or one synopsis and one log line based on their reading of the story, so you can see how close you are to if you've got the story right or not, or did they get it right. Anyway, so I sent that out since I got it all done, and my readers aren't getting back to me quick enough. So I'll take this feedback when it comes in, and I may make adjustments, I may not, depends on what it is. It takes about 72 hours. This is Wednesday night. They said it could be back in 24 hours, but since I'm going with 2 readers, I'm guessing not. So possibly on Friday. They exclude the weekend, so I'm pretty much guessing Monday will be the day. So that's when we find out what some industry professionals will think of the script. So until Monday, wish me luck, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to take in the last 10 pages of the screenplay to rewrites tomorrow, so I'll catch you up on that. And that's about all I have for right now. So hopefully you're doing well in your own writing. Maybe you've got your script finished and you're ready to start your own marketing process. This is something to think about. Check out Inktip.com and ScreenplayReaders.com. Those may be 2 things that will help you in your marketing and wrapping up the final details of your script. So until then, I will see you right here on the blog, and please